Yep, we're live now.
It is
Um,
live.
so, Uni and I were just talking about the experiences we've been having post-grad and also just about the problems that we've experienced with the education system. It's going to be like a 5-minute chat, but yeah. So, Uni, what were you? You were saying that
Um,
curiosity was like dying, or you,
yeah.
yeah.
So I guess just coming straight out of undergrad experience and trying to dive into the real world, I found myself quite limited just because what was on paper wasn't viewed as so much important or useful for whatever jobs that needed to be get done. Um, And just like looking back at the 4 years that I spent at my undergrad, um, it just, when I first went to college, I think I was so filled with the joy, like the excitement of pursuing um, education that was real and genuine, and just really fulfilling whatever curiosities I've ever had, um, and I believed and trusted that that was the purpose of education, was to just for you to freely let go of yourself um, and yeah, pursue your curiosities, and that alone will make the true learning happen. And yet, just looking around at people who did end up getting a job after graduating, I think they really did take initiative of their undergrad years to structure it in a way that would lead them eventually to an employment opportunity. And I'm not saying that that's not important, but I think it and that kind of structure would have limited me in ways of, again, just letting go and pursuing what I thought was true education, um, to encourage that human curiosity and, make whatever expansions to knowledge out there and allow students to think creatively. But reality was a little different, and in a way I feel slightly betrayed because the way that the schools are promoted and whatnot wasn't quite in a line with what came to me as being realistic, I guess.
Mhm.
So,
I think that's
mm,
why like there are so many initiatives to getting students to like pursue STEM research
mm,
or STEM degrees.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like
But like,
like
if everyone's doing the same research, like,
hmm? No, I mean
if
like a lot of students like don't like have interest in science or
mm,
engineering or math
mm, yeah,
degrees. They're like, oh, this is so hard. Like
yeah,
I'm not going to do well, and so I won't be able to get a job. And
mm,
like if the job is the main goal,
mm,
then yeah, like the amount of knowledge that's being created is inevitably going to be limited because
mm,
everyone's like, okay, let me like try to structure my degree so that I can
yeah,
get a good job and make money
yeah,
and get a white picket fence, blah blah blah. But
mm,
it's like you instead of mis I mean your mistakes are you're penalized more for your mistakes
right,
like learning from them.
right,
You just and
exactly.
you're like, okay, let me do like something easy and get a good job.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that was something that I was really surprised about, especially in an institution like Cornell, where I thought students would be more willing to take that risk or like have that exploration time.
Mhm.
So, like, you know how we had to take the freshman writing seminars?
Mhm.
So I took this philosophy course,
I did
and
too.
because I was genuinely interested, and I talked to some of my, like, I guess dorm roommates at the time, yeah, and we were discussing about freshman writing seminar, and everyone's like, "Oh, I like this class is easier," or like I'm taking this class because they give out A's more easily. And I guess I was sort of shocked, and because I was like, I took this course because I wanted to take it because I was interested in the subject matter. And did I do well? Well, not so much, but like I still really enjoyed it. Like I still remember everything that I've like read in that course, which is quite cool. Um, and yeah, and I totally agree that there's no room for making that mistake or like having that initial step of exploring a new field if you're purely structuring in a way that would, yeah, like
Yeah.
get you a
I
better
remember,
job.
like the first chemistry lab that I took, like at Gen Chem, uh,
Mm,
I remember doing an exper or maybe it wasn't Gen Chem. I don't remember, but like I remember we were graded on accuracy, which is like, yes, of course, good.
mm,
But I wanted to report my results like truthfully because I think I did the experiment and like something didn't work. So I
yeah.
wanted to say, okay, like I did this and I did this and this is the outcome. Like it didn't work. But then like
Mm-hmm.
we were like penalized point wise
Mm,
if our experiment was like a certain amount incorrect. So I was like, oh, I can't just treat this as a legitimate experiment. I have to like consider my grade and
yeah.
be like, okay, let me redo this so that I can make it seem like I knew what I was doing. Or,
Right.
but in like a legitimate research lab, if your experiment doesn't go well, you just have to do it again and say, okay, this didn't work. This is why
Mm,
I think it didn't work.
mm,
And of course, like if you do, you're going to have some error in a lab, and of course, you say, okay, this was human error or whatever, but you can't like treat it as I wasn't able to treat it as I wanted to, like a legitimate
mm,
research experience. Yeah, and I think
mm,
that's like basically why people are saying the education system is broken.
yeah.
That and like lower education is really broken. But
Mm.
yeah,
Have you watched, I watched this documentary on the plane. It was about the Ivory Tower, I think it's called. And it's about the American, like, higher education system.
that sounds familiar, but I don't think I've
Yeah.
watched
You
it.
should, yeah, I think they do a pretty good job of just, um, saying that like our education really isn't worth $50,000 a year. Like, yes, it's great education, like there are great professors out there, but so much of it is like going into promotion, like great facilities, like we've got a swimming pool, like all these unnecessary things. And they're not like colleges aren't so much focused on like teaching itself, um, more so like yeah, there's so much room for improvement. And yeah, I don't know. There's this whole fantasy around like the Ivy Leagues and whatnot, but I don't know. It's kind of disappointing in a way.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But I mean, did you hear about that article written by someone talking about the Ivy League and how like it's not cut up like it's not
Hmm.
all that it's like cut out to be or something like that? They're
Hmm.
like
No, I
people
didn't read that.
I think the author was basically saying that like if like students who graduate from an Ivy League are like
Hmm.
cocky and blah 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 and like
Hmm.
I mean there definitely are some people who come out
Hmm.
and they're like, yeah, I went to Ivy League, blah blah blah. They're just like using the name to get them to
Hmm.
places. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, it definitely does help just because of how society is like this. What what is the word I'm looking for? It's like it values that hierarchy so much.
Hmm.
But there are people that like genuinely wanted to learn, and I
Yeah.
personally don't feel I was cocky, but I think that the Ivy League is good for getting people from like so many diverse backgrounds
Yeah.
from like all over and
The
like putting them in
world.
one place and like
Hmm.
getting people who really want to learn about stuff. I mean,
Hmm.
not to say that people in other universities don't want to learn because that's not true, but like
Right.
Yeah, I was listening to like I mean like some people from my high school. Like we all got together for a Christmas party or something, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I hated college, blah blah blah," and like I honestly couldn't agree with them because it was just like so cool, like all these people from all these places.
Mm. Wait, they said college was cool, or what did
No,
they say?
they said that they hated
Oh,
college.
they hated college.
Yeah, or that like it just felt like another like it was useless or like an extension of high school or something.
Oh, I see.
Um, Also, our food, like Cornell's food, was like the
It's
best.
ridiculous. Yeah.
So good. Everyone's like, "Oh, our food is so bad," and I'm just like,
We have too too much. But I do think that they could have lowered the tuition by offering people more like choices to, I don't know, shop frugally, because if you lived in a dorm, you had to get meal plans. And
"You?
yeah.
I thought you could opt out of that." Oh
Really,
wait.
from my memory, from what I remember, I'm pretty sure you had to.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
mean, for me, it wouldn't have made a difference because my mom would have been like, "Nope, you're not starving. You have to get the biggest meal plan." Okay, whatever.
You have to get door food,
Yeah,
which
that's
was
still
like really
strong.
good. Feel bad. My dad still like to this day talks about it. He's like, those meal plans were so expensive. Like,
Oh no, but the food was
yeah.
so good.
Yeah, it was good though. Like, it was legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that you can like that you learn things that you don't even realize that you're learning
Hmm.
until you come back and your parents are like, "What are you doing?" And you're
What
like,
are you doing?
"What are you doing?" Like recycling, like I didn't really care about recycling. I mean, like I did a little bit before Cornell.
Mm-hmm.
After Cornell, I was like, "Mom, we have to like after the first even semester, I was like, why don't we have a recycling bin? Like, why doesn't our community recycle? What is going on? Like, what is this?"
Mm.
Um, yeah, and it's also
Really? Chicago doesn't recycle that much?
well, they do. Just for some reason, my neighborhood didn't for a while. I was like,
I see.
what is this? It's so dumb. Um, yeah,
Mm. What are some other like things that you realize that you learned?
just healthy eating habits.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, like before, hmm, I just like I don't know. I didn't eat like super unhealthily, but now I'm more conscious about what I'm eating, I guess.
Mm. Or just like taking care of yourself in general, like health
Wait, okay.
in general.
What?
Like just taking care of yourself in general was something that
Mm.
I learned. Like, yeah, there's no one else who can do it for you. Like it's all up to you. And especially because like the terrain at Cornell was just gotta have climbers' legs. Like,
I was just thinking that.
yeah, gotta have them. Like, I don't know how he did it. I don't know. I don't know.
Dude.
Like
Yeah, I was
carrying those like huge backpacks with like 20 textbooks and like a huge computer and millions of other things. I don't know.
yeah, I was just talking to someone today about how like,
Mm.
like I'm from Chicago and like the biggest hill we have is man-made and it's in a park somewhere. It's like like nobody goes on that unless they're sledding. And so when I came to Cornell, I was like, what is this land? What is
What
this?
is this?
Where are there mountains everywhere? No, not really. It was just like, what the heck?
Oh my
Oh my
god.
goodness. Yeah, so crazy.
Oh man, yeah, that like walking up to Baker was such a pain.
But at least you did. Okay, did I tell you like sophomore year? Well, you
Uh-huh.
probably knew this. Remember how I lived at the top floor of live? And
Yes.
then I had to climb the hill.
I
So it's
can't
like
believe I can't believe you did that.
I'm pretty much the strongest person in the world. Oh, maybe that's why I can bike for so long.
You can bike for so long?
Yeah, like when I came. I don't know, like sometime okay, so my house in Chicago is like
Uh-huh.
it's kind of far from things that I want to go to, so it's like 7 miles each way. So I'd sometimes like I'd bike like 14 miles in a day or whatever.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, and I
That's
didn't even
pretty
have any
crazy.
trouble with it. And I was like, this is weird. Are my legs gonna fall off sometime? But I think it was because of Cornell's hills. That,
Hmm. You built those muscles there.
yeah.
True. Oh, wow. You're cool. You bike.
I'm really glad I learned how to ride a bike. Like,
Oh,
I'm
man.
so proud of myself.
Honestly, I wish it was kind of a norm for adults to roller skate or rollerblade,
You
because
should
I love rollerblades. Like, why aren't adults allowed to rollerblade?
I mean, you can. There's no one that says you can't.
That's
I guess
true,
that
but you
no one
don't see
does.
people on streets like
Yeah, I guess no one like
rollerblade.
thinks to rollerblade.
Oh, that's true.
Like longboard here though. In
Maybe I should start a trend.
I can't even imagine you on a longboard.
My backpack and a helmet.
Okay, well, I'm gonna stop the broadcast for now. It
Okay.
was the first episode of Saleh and Young's live chat. Tune in again. I don't know when our next one will be, but it will be coming soon to
Soon.
a computer screen near you. So, see you later.